Hi, this is Seth Green.
And Matt Colon of Replicant X, the trendsetter of on-chain, community-driven storytelling.
And we are on Edge of NFT, the trend-setting podcast, bringing you the latest stories within the NFT ecosystem. Keep listening.
Hi there, NFT curious listeners. Stay tuned for today's episode and learn all about the pros and cons of minting friendships on the blockchain. Plus,
why we now live by the words, thou shalt respect the Bago, and
how the early 90s classic comic books still are guiding our present day Web3 livelihood. And don't forget, we put together a gathering called NFTLA just a few months back that brought out thousands of the world's most innovative doers in the NFT space. Head to NFTLA.live to get tickets to our bigger, bolder, better, but also just as intimate and impactful event happening in Los Angeles, March 20th to the 23rd, 2023. See you there.
Welcome to the Edge of NFT podcast with your hosts, Jeff Kelly, Ethan Janney, and Josh Krieger. We aim to bring you not only the top 1% of what's going on with NFTs today, but what will stand the test of time. We explore the nuts and bolts and the business side, but also the human element of how NFTs are changing the way we interact with the things that we love. This podcast is for the futurists and dreamers, the disruptors and creators, the fans and connectors, and the makers and doers that are pumped about this ecosystem and driving where it goes next.
Today's episode features Seth Green and Matt Colon of Replicant X, a new PFP collection from Steve Aoki, Seth Green, and the makers of RobotChicken. An industry veteran, Seth Green is an actor, voice artist, comedian, producer, writer, and director who has entertained audiences for nearly 4 decades. Green has starred in countless films, including iconic roles in cult classics like the Austin Powers trilogy, opposite Mike Myers, Can't Hardly Wait, alongside Jennifer Love Hewitt, Without a Paddle, opposite Dax Shepard, Rat Race with Whoopi Goldberg, Old Dogs, opposite Robin Williams and John Travolta, Idle Hands alongside Jessica Alba, and The Italian Job opposite Mark Wahlberg and Charlize Theron. In 2008, he co-founded Stupid Buddy Studios with partners John Harvatine, Matt Senreich, and Eric Towner. The prolific animation studio has produced multiple critically acclaimed series, including its flagship show, RobotChicken. Series now in its 11th season is not only Adult Swim's highest rated original program, but has won multiple awards, including 3 Emmys for Outstanding Short Format Animation Program and numerous Annies, including a Best Directing win for Green. Other hits from the studio include Adult Swim's Titan Maximum and Hot Streets, Sony's Super Mansion, Hulu's Crossing Swords, Marvel's MODOK, brand Netflix Buddy Thunderstruck. All right, yeah, Seth is yawning at his own list of achievements. So when you get bored with your own,
it's pages.
It's a slog. Yeah,
we get it. What's next?
Let's give Matt a chance. We scoured the internet for any information on Matt. We're doxing Matt today, actually, compared to Seth.
Yeah. We just had a quick IMDb scan for Seth, but we scour the internet for you.
We had to scour the internet. Yeah, Matt hasn't really achieved much. No, he's just hiding it all.
The dark web.
Yeah, Diamond Mine, Matt Colon, who is redefining talent management as YMU's global president of music, as well as managing superstar producers DJ Steve Aoki. Colon directly oversees the U.S. music division and leads global strategy and integration across the world, creating synergy between the UK and US music divisions. He also leads growth strategy for the organization with new manager acquisitions and key hires, leveraging an agency built on unconventional thinking. Managing elite clients in sports, music, social, art, literature, and entertainment, YMU combines their rich understanding of diversity and culture to go beyond traditional management. There's a couple other chapters here, guys. I just, that was chapter 1. Let me get into chapter 2.
you forgot that Matt's also been a resident advisor to NFTLA and really helped to make the first one that much more epic. So thanks, Matt, for all that.
Totally.
Seth, do you usually get Without a Paddle quoted in your recent credits? I love that.
It kind of just depends. Yeah, I don't know, man. People know me from who knows at this point. I've been with people most of their lives. So
that feels like my favorite bear attack joke of all time.
And your cat has been there right along with you the whole time.
17 years, I got this ass in my face.
Nice.
That's her favorite protocol. This is the POAP.
There you go. Yeah. So subbing in for Jeff Kelly today is the one and only Zach Sekar, our head of NFTLA and resident Twitter Spaces MC. Zach, good to have you on the show.
Great to be here. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah. So look, Seth, I mean, decades of incredible things that you've been doing to entertain the world. And, Stupid Buddy has also had a lot of milestones and success since its inception, and now Replicant X. How has all of this sort of good stuff that you've done in the past helped to create the mold for what you're doing with Replicant X?
Great question. I've always been really interested in emerging technologies and how they relate to entertainment. Distribution is the main obstacle for most people trying to make a name for themselves. Or any brand trying to get any kind of publicity. So the fun thing about Web3 NFT, it's being able to take advantage of an immediate distribution. That's what got me interested. So it started with Steve, Aoki, and Matt coming to us and saying that they wanted to create linear content on blockchain, which, that just sounds cool. There's a immutable registry of data and information. And even if you're just identifying NFT or blockchain as a certificate of authenticity, the idea of being able to mint programming or even open the door to some kind of collective ownership over any large scale IP, that's all really interesting to me. So when they approached us saying they wanted to make something, we all said, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's fun.
Well, less a why not than a like the why. There's a lot of whys, The why not is because it can fail. It's too expensive. Nobody's going to like it. It'll destroy your careers and reputations. But the why is so much more compelling. It's the opportunity to be first in a space and to set a tone for how this kind of thing should unfold, which I always think is really important. Like the tone of it is critical. The introductions of any of these kinds of technologies that bring people together or potentially rip them apart, it's like the tone is the most important thing. It's probably my biggest grievance, anything that Elon Musk has done since he's taken over Twitter. He's invited and fostered a tone of communication, of interaction that is valueless, in my opinion.
Yeah. So break it down for us a little bit, guys. It's the next chapter in the Character X saga, right? So we got 4,000 NFTs.
So the background of the character, Steve did his first NFT drop sort of that giant big wave with Beeple and Blau in March of 2021. All right. Yeah. 2021. In that first collection, there was lots of great art and 3D stuff. The one thing Steve wanted to do was take his signature. Like literally, when he writes Aoki, the O has a little extra eyes and a little mouth thing in it. Like, can we turn that into a character? And he just wanted to show up in a few of the NFTs. And for whatever reason, those NFTs sort of became the hallmark for that collection. And then when we started speaking with Matt, who's Seth's partner, and the rest of that team about what this could be, they sort of came with the idea, like, let's take that character and see what he would look like. Let's give him a world. Let's see what he would look like as we sort of ideate out from that. And then they created some, rivals. We call them Chonk and Soul, these two little characters. And they took what was essentially a figment of Steve's imagination and gave it a real life and world and a personality. And that was what we did. Was our first drop was with Stupid Buddy, was called Dominion X. It was essentially like a sizzle reel, a little short animated film. We dropped it via Nifty Gateway, August of 21, sold out in a few minutes. And people got different scenes, and we just played with the gamification of collecting. So people got different scenes. They try to combine scenes and mint new scenes. And eventually, at the end of 6 months of gamification, they were able to mint the full 4 or 5 people got to mint the entire long form version of it. We also gave out the physical puppets that were used in the show, so you can see it was a real, it was actual physical production, not just someone sitting on a computer. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's a different style of animation. And then we talk about what we would do next, and Seth's partners were kind of the mind that was a lot of fun. There might be something real here. What if we tried to make a real show out of this? People seem to like the short, and we spent the next. And I think season 11 of RobotChicken came into play. So we had to take a slight pause on sort of the dev for a few months while we did the gamification part, and then picked up the conversation, I think at the beginning of this year, and started ideating out like what would be a way to finance it, to grow the community, because right now we have 400 NFTs, which is a relatively small community. So how do we grow it? What's popular? PFPs. What can we do with it? So long story short, it all came to something called Replicant X, which is we replicated character X, the character, in different iterations of it. The money from the sale went to then finance the first episode of this, short animated series. And then we now have thought about what does it mean now to be a holder more than just, hey, it's my PFP, but like, what if you actually could participate in the writing of the show? What if you could see it as it's being done? And again, because it's physical production, you're not watching someone behind a computer screen. You can watch someone physically making these puppets. Actually, Seth can talk about this way better than I can, but like they actually set up real sets, real stages, real cameras. It's real live production, just on a 1/6 scale or something.
Seth, how does it feel to have like thousands of additional writers in the writer's room with you?
Well, it's a new concept, especially but what we're talking about is a new concept. So it's like you wouldn't apply that kind of philosophy to a standard pilot for television, or, you're not going to get 10,000 people to gang write a feature. It's just untenable. I think that's actually why all of the like choose your own adventure interactive stuff that people have tried to pitch for a theater experience doesn't work, because you only get the majority of the collective. So unless you're doing something like a Bandersnatch, which is a personalized interaction, you get this. It just won't work. But this is fun because it's designed specifically for this purpose, right? You're creating a scenario by which this whole audience of passionate enthusiasts are collectively writing the intellectual property that they all own. That's a completely different idea. So it's not like we're saying, hey, let's get 10,000 people to write a Batman movie or a Spider-Man movie, or, even a compelling story about a guy and a girl breaking up over the summer. You're specifically saying, hey, all of these people are already invested in this idea. They like these characters. They want to be a part of telling the story. And then we just have to shape the experience in a way that allows for that. So some of it is making it as simple as an A, B, or C, right? We're asking people to come up with prompts, or we'll say, hey, what's Chunk's favorite food? And they'll give us all of these kinds of suggestions. And as a result, we know things that will fit in the narrative of the storytelling. So it's less like what happens in this episode than Chunk opens the refrigerator. What does he find? So we focus the points of ideation so that everybody can collectively be involved, but we actually tell a story along the way.
Yeah. So
in the longer view, do you think that like in this kind of pretty new version of community-based writing, how much do you expect the community to really evolve the characters themselves?
I think there's a real opportunity for it, because all of this stuff we've started with almost nothing. And then through each of these points of persona that the holders help us to define, we determine what the personality of this character actually is. So the audience, the holders, are collectively really incredibly involved in the growth and evolution of the characters.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm in our Discord on Friday.
Oh yeah, what are they at?
Let's see. Question: What poster? Some of them are just completely aesthetic, right? What poster hangs over Swole's bed? That's just like, hey, you're going to see the poster. Like I chose that, or I voted on that, right? How does Chunk soothe a baby, a crying baby? So whatever they choose is actually going to be what happens on screen. What does character X dream about? That's really, kind of a blank palette. You can come up with whatever you want. And the way we sort of structured it was, so we partnered with the artist named People Pleaser, and another one named Mache Kuchiara, who actually Steve has done collaborations with both of them. They have a platform called Shibuya, which is more of a choose your own adventure narrative storytelling.
Yeah, sure.
So we partnered with them. There is going to be a version of this where you get to watch an animation and choose what happens next. But we want to get people involved a little earlier than that. So rather than sort of us spending the next 3 or 4 months animating all these scenes and these end results, let's have people involved in what that's going to be. So what they're voting on now in our token gated Discord, or what they're kind of improv, what's it called? What's that? What's it?
Like whose line is it?
Whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
It's basically an improv show happening in our Discord. Like, just give me prompts, people chatting stuff out, 20, 30 suggestions. They'll narrow those down to the ones they like, and those will become choices in the Shibuya experience. But this way people are involved from day one, from the writing of the episode. Later on, they'll be, we'll start designing things. They might be able, like, what color do you want this chair to be? And they can really kind of take some ownership over like what they end up seeing on screen. And we've even gone so far as to, like, when we do this Shibuya thing, it's not going to be a completely polished animation. They're going to see like little armatures. They're going to see it won't be a fully finished thing because you are part of the production experience. You're going to see a 80% done thing. You're going to pick the ending. Then we're going to go animate that ending in real time, and then go back and color correct and animate and do the SFX and all that stuff. But they're also doing it, and we kind of joke it's the South Park version. Can you animate? I don't know, Seth, can you animate in real time? So they're going to animate for 4 days, the setup. People will have a day to vote, and then they're going to animate for another 2 days, the end result. And then on day 7 or day 8, you're going to get to see the fully produced, 15-second short. And then we're going to put all these 15-second shorts together to make like a 2-minute episode.
We're also dangerously bending the audience's expectations with respect to speed of a capable accomplishment. Like there's some of the stuff when you're talking about stop motion, it just takes time because it's time intensive. So when you make stop motion, you literally have to build everything. There's a lot of hacks with respect to, just a photographic background, or like we learned from The Mandalorian that you can shoot a giant LED screen behind a stop motion setup, and depending on the scale, it looks like a flawless fall off background. But it is essentially one person or maybe a team of people at best moving something incrementally and then taking a picture of it frame by frame. So it's just like cinema in that you build the sets, you light it with proper shadows and actual, beautiful lenses and all this great technology. But at the end of the day, it's like a single person has to like move the thing and click and move the thing and click. And then over hours, it looks like a sequence. So
when you said it's just like cinema, I want to see somebody do like a movie with real actors, but they have to go stop motion position the actors. Like
that's what Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer video is that. There's been a lot of versions of that where people have used human beings as stop motion props. I think OK Go did one, but it's the effect that it achieves is not worth it.
Yeah, totally.
like for an entire film.
It's a really expensive massage bill for those actors,
Yeah. You should watch Waking Life. It's kind of Richard Linklater's movies. Kind of a cool example of that.
That's one of my favorite movies. Yeah. That's
right on.
I've watched it in so many various stages of like inebriation.
That's what it's there for you.
Yeah. You said inebriation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Drunk history. That's a key one. All right. So
I'm so sad they canceled that show.
Did they? Oh, I'm just glad there's so many episodes because like
there's a library.
There's a lot. There's a lot there. Well,
they had so much more to make. I'm really upset about it.
It's genius. It's a genius show. Well, so you mentioned the Discord that's open for the holders of the Replicant X. Can you tell us a little bit more about the development process for the collection in and of itself? How's that been rolling along?
Yes, the development. So it was interesting because at one point we talked about doing, we got claymation. We talked about physically doing it, and then we realized just how. What's the right word? Like trying to make 500 traits physically, and taking photos of them was just not economic.
I saw somebody do that really early on in NFT. Somebody made like a stop motion or rather just like an asset trait spectrum that everything was handmade. And I think they only did like 2,000 of them. And it's insane. It's an insane thing to do. It's also not necessary. I don't know that you really get an extra benefit from having photographed it, right?
Right. Yeah. So I think that was the takeaway. It's like, at the end of the day, what are we actually trying to accomplish? Number one, we're trying to grow the community. Number two, we're trying to finance the first episode. And number three, like you want something that people can flex and floss and use for some sense of identity. And all that didn't predicate it being physically manufactured. So then,
well, it also just our costs up front would have been, we never would have been able to like get back in black. Like we'd had to upfront spend more than we could make to produce it that way.
So then we went through, I think, the Suit Buddy team brought in a handful of like our illustrators came up with a bunch of drawings, of Character X that Steve just kept going like, yes, no, and kind of narrowed it down to